Okay, I'd like to call to order the Urban Design Commission meeting for Wednesday, January 12th, 2011, and we'll begin with roll call.
Mark Kimmerer. Doug Gasek.
Here.
James Doherty.
Here?
Jim Sawhill.
Here.
Andrew Garcia.
Here.
Jeff Dinwiddie.
Here?
Thomas Tiber.
Okay, we have a packet of minutes for the July 14th, 2010 meeting. We get a motion to approve.
Just a computer problem.
Can
Log out and log back.
someone raise their hand to make a motion to approve? Okay. Any objection to approving the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, they're approved. Next item on the agenda is disclosures. Does anyone have any disclosures for tonight? No? And then item 2 is some old business from last meeting for a recommendation to serve on the Public Art Committee. I think Commissioner Kimmerer had some things he wanted to share with us, or he was interested. Maybe we could just table this until he returns. Yeah. So we'll keep that open. Nothing on the consent agenda. No unfinished business. So we move on to the regular agenda. We have a single case tonight, and do we have the petitioner here for case 2011-004 for the landscape plan review for the Harry McDonald expansion? You're aware that we have a short board tonight. We only have 5 commissioners, so we usually extend an option if you would like, if you can afford. We can schedule you on our next meeting if you'd like to have more commissioners participate, because with 5 we have to have a unanimous vote in order to pass. You come on up and approach the mic.
Yes, we got a phone call earlier letting us know you were in that position, and we're fine proceeding.
Okay. You have a presentation for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you don't want.
You're up. We have a staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This project proposes to build an addition to the existing building that will hold an indoor multi-use turf field, running track, 2 team rooms, bathrooms, Eagle River, and also the Eagle River Parks and Recreation Maintenance Shop. The department finds that the project is consistent with the goals and policies of the Chugiak Eagle River Comprehensive Plan Update. The project is identified as a community facility. The project site is identified as a community facility in the land use plan map. The surrounding area is mostly vacant and undeveloped, PLI zoned property. There's an elementary school to the north and an R2A zoned residential subdivision to the northeast. That's on a bit different topography. There's quite a bit of natural vegetation there. Pages 7 and 8 show you a nice aerial and the zoning map that I was just sort of describing. The department recommends approval. This is a final approval of the public facility site plan and concept or preliminary approval of the landscape plan, subject to conditions 1 and 2, standard conditions on page 6. The petitioner is here. I'll leave questions about the project to him. Thank you.
Excuse me. Any questions for staff? And I'll have to have you raise your hand or something like that, because it looks like I'm not connected to the system. Okay. The petitioner's ready. Should make the presentation.
Do you have the connection for a laptop, or should I just use?
Do you have your laptop?
Yeah. I can use this, but I don't know how. I can do it either way.
You need to let me know in advance because I have to have the security guard get it out of their locked storage cabinet.
All right, we can do it hard copy, I just don't know how to use that part of the Elmo.
Okay, hang on just a second. There you go.
Do I turn it on?
Oh, we're looking at
It's
it.
on, we can see it on the back monitor.
Oh,
Gotcha.
that doesn't help.
Get on that monitor.
Is there any way to get this other?
I thought I'd see it there. All right, well, I'm Blaise Burkhart, principal architect at Burkhart Craft Architects, doing the design work for the expansion of Harry J. McDonald. This aerial is in your packet. It basically shows the existing conditions of the site, and the kind of orange box area is the place that has actually been reserved for many years for the building to expand in some fashion. The area that you see to the west or to the left there that's cleared has since been seeded. That was actually kind of a joint project to the material there was very good gravel. It was excavated or mined for a road project, and the remaining fill put back in. It's actually now an exterior use area that was developed as a result of that exchange, and is used as an ultralight and hang gliding staging and landing area now. When that work was done, you can see the buffer that was retained along the edge of the road. There was a corner of it that was taken out adjacent to the curb cut into the property, and we're going to put that back, but we'll get into that a little more. That basically shows the area right around the building as it exists today. There is a vegetated hill to the right side of the existing building, and this project will remove that in its entirety. It will maintain the right-hand-most edge in this view as part of a drainage swale to filter our site runoff before it heads down into the storm drainage. This thing isn't fitting on the whole site, but this is the proposed expansion on the civil site plan, and the area in the center of the slide is the new building addition. The parking lot of the existing facility, this facility was built, and I've never been able to pin down exactly which is the case. It's either built prior to the requirement for 5% interior landscaping, or back in the days when the Eagle River area was exempt from some of those. So the point is it never had 5% interior landscaping. So as part of the improvements and the total parking space reconfiguration, some of the existing spaces were displaced and added on that back edge in addition to the new parking required for the addition to create the planted islands that you see in the landscape plan. This is actually a supplemental sheet just to show the entire parcel boundary. Primarily to have a document in our formal construction documents that show that the buffer along the roadway continues to the edge of the property. That was a supplement that was requested by staff. Your pack includes an overall landscape plan showing how the concept of the 5% interior landscaping edges, how that back edge of the drainage swale is being treated, and probably on the larger scale version of the first half, there is an existing trail coming up from Fire Lake in this area. I don't know, does my finger show up there? Right in that area. That didn't have real connectivity to the facility, but it is used on a regular basis. We're going to connect that in a formal way. Around the main entry plaza, I can show you the elevation here in a minute. The entry is actually going to be moving. We're going to create a new entry in our building, and as a result of that, move some of the site components, provide a new bench, that kind of thing. There's an existing, you've probably seen the 1% for Art ice skater sculptures that are outside the main entry. They're going to be maintained in their current location. The plaza will get rebuilt around them. And there's another piece of 1% art on the back elevation that we'll be chatting with Jocelyn about. It would probably be best, it's still going to be visible, but probably not as preferred as, they would want. We might get with the original artist and request a relocation on the existing building elevation for it. Blow up at the bottom half, again showing how the swale edge will be treated. And again, creating new landscaping where it was taken out along the edge of the curb cut and creating a little more depth at the other two curb cut locations as you enter the site. Right now, it's just nothing but a paved area moving through there. Floor plan is pretty straightforward. But apparently too large to fit on Elma. I have been active for many years out in the Fire Lake, back when this was a Fire Lake facility. I've coached programs out there for a lot of years. And through that time, there's been a user demand. There's been a lot of different visions for what an expansion might be. Ice time utilization is actually down, and so this project is trying to marry indoor turf field and true running track facilities in addition to the ice skating opportunities that are already there. So this is largely just an indoor track and field area with some supporting dry locker rooms, additional toilet rooms that are necessary for the broader occupancy count. And then there's a piece in the back here where the Eagle River Parks and Rec Maintenance Department is going to relocate their shop facilities. The two shaded areas at the end and in between, the one in between is actually an expansion to their current community meeting rooms, and it pretty much is envisioned to be a divisible room that can serve a special needs program that is using the community room now. That's been a successful program. They see a pretty clear connection to using the turf field for their programs. The success of the programs meant the community room is in use more for that and unavailable for other things. So we're hoping that the budget will support that as one of the additive alternates in the project. The first priority alternate is the one on the end of the turf field, which is simply just making one more bay, longer field. For those that have maybe been to the indoor field at Wasilla Sports Complex, the fully built out field will be that size. The base bid would be one bay short. Up above that area, there's the shop space is open, high, and the mechanical room takes the position next to it. The site arrangement with the shop, as we see there, the site sets itself up pretty well now for separating service traffic to the back of the facility and public traffic to the front of the facility. And the shop has taken that position so that we can separate the maintenance facility traffic from the public as well. Back in the back pad are condensers for the ice rink, mechanical systems, and so forth, and the shop is just kind of a natural fit back there. Sections each way, just kind of showing the building form. That's the two-bay high shop space, the larger turf field area, and then a cross section the other way. There is daylight entertained above the turf field on both sides. It's a fairly industrial aesthetic primarily for budgetary reasons. We're seeing a little hard to read the colors here, but the area right here, these are actually the hockey sculptures, and I think you can see those in your elevations in your packet as well. This higher volume binding the two building forms is going to be the new entry that we're proposing, so that visitors can come into a common entry place and move either direction depending on the use that they're doing. The current administrative offices are also in that lower building form, so the oversight of activities and all that is available to both sides. And that's about all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions?
Still raising their hand.
Well, I've got a monitor. I don't know if it works for me, but go ahead.
On the turf field, do you guys have a brand you're planning on using or a manufacturer?
It's a public project, so, obviously it's got to be open competitively, but it's going to be basis of design on field turf, similar to what the school districts have done on the outdoor fields, only it's actually the same assembly without the drainage. They also, because they do, complete facilities at universities and so forth, the track surface itself will also come from them, provided, they're the successful bidder.
On the turf, how tall are you? Are you going to do a short turf or a taller turf, rubber infill, or do you know?
The actual product selection hasn't been made yet, but it'll be a short turf assembly with sand binder base. It's basically the same product that's used in Wasilla. There's been some improvements to their specification, if you will, since we've done the last one, so I'm not necessarily aware of all the peculiarities of that.
And the other thing, I know you guys haven't got that far, but this place is Moose Haven, so whatever you put out here is going to get eaten, and or should be fairly moose resistant when you pick. It looks like you did a lot of evergreen trees, which is a good idea, but any deciduous trees that are in those islands either got to be protected or they're just going to get. I mean, that entire 40 acres to the south is all moose heaven, so just keep that in mind.
Well, we're going to have Ralph come up and talk about, I think you'll find he's going to protect the deciduous trees. And actually, I mean, this is an interesting project area to deal with. We're hoping that the landscaping we're providing in the interior spaces is not trying to compete with the natural landscape that surrounds it, because it's everywhere. I mean, we're basically building in a forest. So that kind of dictates, a certain direction that makes the whole moose issue more difficult to resolve, but we'll get more specific with that on the next submission.
Other questions? Mr. Sawhill?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This might be more appropriate for Ralph. And one of the issues, I guess it's a design philosophy issue with interior landscaping for parking lots, is how small of a landscape island will really grow plant materials well, and are we better off taking some of these smaller islands and maybe combining them to make bigger islands and have a better chance at the plant material surviving? And then how in the world are they going to plow this parking lot with those landscape islands in the middle? So if you could address those issues, that'd be...
I'm Ralph Rentz, one of the municipal landscape architects for this project. I think the narrowest planting island we've got on these plans is 9 feet, and I think in those we're not doing trees, we're just doing massive shrubs.
Okay.
Just for the reason that you stated. In addition, we've made it so that they can plow from, east to west. They can plow right into that large open field, so it should be pretty easy.
Okay. And there'll be no curb line over at that edge, so they'll just plow right across the pavement?
Yeah, there's no curb edge on that
Okay.
western edge.
Okay. And you haven't specified what kind of shrubs you're going to have at this point?
No, that'll be the next phase.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I had.
Any other questions for the petitioners? Thank you. Matter rests with our commission. It's time for a motion. If anybody's made a motion. Mr. Dinwiddie?
I make a motion that we approve the plans as at this point.
think you need to have a combined motion. There's two actions that we're trying to accomplish, and they've been kind of lumped together in the staff requirements. It's a final site plan review and a concept landscaping review. If you could state that in your motion, I think we'll be okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the final site plan review and the preliminary plans for the review, landscape review.
That's been seconded. Commissioner Gasick? Discussion? I'm assuming also that that motion is subject to the two conditions. On page 6, staff had,
Of course.
yes. Could you speak to your motion, please?
All right, I would, I think this plan coincides with Title 21 and meets the requirements of public use space. It's a good project for the community. It meets the design criteria laid out in Title 21. So far, I think I like what I see, and we should approve it.
Anyone else wish to speak? Motion? Any objection to passing the motion? Hearing, seeing none, passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on through the agenda, we don't have any public hearings or appearance requests. I'm assuming no reports. I have no reports. If any of the other commissioners don't have any reports, nothing left but adjournment.
I'm assuming staff has nothing for us?
That's correct.
Okay. Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Seconded. Any objection? We're adjourned. Thank you.